Okay, now we're going to start looking at animal hair as evidence. Now that you've seen human hair, we can start looking at animal hair. So there's some differences, and this can be just as important as human hair. You're going to be trained to observe all the different characteristics, and so it's important because think of this. So like a criminal breaks into a house, the suspect is being investigated, and he has a dog hair on his clothes, but he doesn't even own a dog. So if he's got a Labrador Retriever hair found on his clothes and he doesn't even own a dog, maybe you can check the crime scene. Maybe there was a dog at the crime scene. And if that matches up, that places him at that residence. So it can be just as important. And animal hair is usually composed of two types of hair. You either have the wool hair or the guard hair. The wool hair is what you were normally looking at, like that's close to the skin. It's normally the insulation for most animals, and it's usually thin, soft, and it's kinked, and it's just very close to the skin. And then you have guard hairs, which are longer and thicker, and they're straight. When you look at an animal's fur, when you're looking at them, this is what you normally see. So looking at your dog, that's probably what you're going to notice is the guard hair. So they look different from human hairs in the following ways. Animals have imbricate, spinous, or coronal cuticle scale patterns. They contain a medulla that is no larger than 0.5. Or sorry, that is usually larger than 0.5. So it's normally on the large end of the spectrum instead of the small. Animal hairs have a medulla that is usually an intricate pattern of air-filled compartments. So the cuticle pattern, scale pattern of hair, you have to look under a high-powered microscope, and there are 3 cuticle scale patterns. You have the imbricate, which looks like the scales, the spinous, which are pointy, and then the coronal, which look like cups. So looking at those, here's our imbricate, and then our spinous, and then our coronal. They look like the stacked cups. So the cortex is going to make up the general color of the hair. So depending upon the color of the coat of the animal, you could have white, clear, light yellow, light brown, medium brown, dark brown, black, red, or orange. So those are the colors that you will use. So the cortex is this outer portion, this outer edge, and this is like a light yellow, and then I would call this a light brown. This to me looks like a light brown as well. And you can see how this center region here, the medulla, is very large on all of these. So medullas in animal hairs are composed of air-filled compartments that are more obvious than the medullas found in human hairs. Each kind of animal typically has its own medulla shape or structure, and this can help you identify what the animal is. So there are 5 types of medulla patterns found in animals. You have amorphous, uniserial, multiserial, cellular, and lattice. So your amorphous is this one. It kind of looks like a kinky straw that's gone all the way down the center. Uniserial is this dashed line. Whether the dashes are longer or shorter, it doesn't matter. They're both uniserial. Multiserial is when you have multiple in the center. So this has multiple dashed lines going down the center. Cellular looks like little square boxes that are stacked on top of each other. And the lattice looks like little balloons or air bubbles that go up the center. So if you look here, it looks like we have a uniserial and then a multiserial. So the purple area is the multiserial and the green arrow is the uniserial. And then you can see this looks like a lattice. It looks like the bubbles. This looks like I'll go back and look. See, this is why you guys need your notes. That kind of looks like little squares, I think. And with the little squares, I think that's cellular. And then this is the amorphous. So to find the index, you look through the microscope in high power and choose the medullary index that best describes the animal hair. So for animal hair, we have a few different measurements. So it's either 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, or almost the entire medulla takes up the entire thickness of the hair. Now remember, this is like the portion where air exists inside the center of the hair. And this is used for insulation. That's why it has the air pockets. When you trap air, it insulates you from heating up or cooling down. So here's our medullary index. We have 0.25, 0.5, 0.75, and 0.9. And most animal hairs are actually towards the larger end of the index. So looking here, I would say that this is probably a 0.9. This is probably a 0.5. This looks like a 0.75. And this looks like a 0.75. And what I'm doing this based off of is how much of the hair has the medulla going through it. So this is almost the entire one. So this is like 0.9. This is about half, so it's 0.5. This one is not quite all of it. You got a little bit left on each side. So I'm saying 0.75. And the same thing here. Now, now looking at this is a unicellular. This looks like a cellular, a lattice, and an amorphous. So we're not going to get to fibers yet. So we're going to stop there, and then hopefully when you guys get here, we'll have the ability to look at a case.